Yeah, I think it's early, and you really want to establish just the mindset. And I think we're practice two, and we've had a lot of that work in the summer. But I think in the summertime, I just think they're in a mindset of obviously we're not here the whole time as coaches, and it's here now, and it's season time. The urgency and the intensity has to pick up, and that's what we're working towards. And we got better from practice one to practice two, and that'll be what we work on. Practice three is an uptick in the intensity and the mindset, less about what we're doing and more about how we're doing it.
Coach, with a linebacker group that has a lot of guys that played a lot of football, but a lot of new faces as well. How's that room coming together?
I think they're understanding their role, and that's what you want on any obviously football team, but especially a defense that doesn't know what's coming. That's defense in any sport. It's puzzle pieces. You got to understand where you fit in your role and how you're interconnected and working on a string together and understanding what everybody's doing in front of you. That can only be gained through reps. And we can tell you till we're blue in the face, hey, this is what happened 10 years ago when I was at this place. This is when we ran this. Until they see it, until they feel that, they're not going to truly understand how to execute it. And we've got some guys in that room that have seen those things. And so experience will always be the greatest teacher. And that's kind of what we have with some of those guys. So we're seeing that show up a little bit, which is allowing them to play faster.
Coach, it's early, but obviously defense starts at the line of scrimmage for you guys in the trenches. How do you feel from a depth perspective early on, mixing and matching pieces up front?
Yeah, I think, again, early on with no pads on, I think we'll know more when we get the shoulder pads on. But we've added some new faces in there that have really stepped up from a culture standpoint in Micah Bland and Nate Marty. Obviously, they weren't here and trying to get up to speed in those things, but where they've really helped us is bringing the room together. And I think you could say with exactly what we said about the linebacker room in that D-line room, they're starting to understand where they fit and what is the standard in their room. Now, are we there yet? Not even close. We're not even close, but you have to first understand the standard to go reach it. And that's where we're trending, and that's going to be a work in progress every day. But those guys, again, the depth will come as we learn more about each other and understanding how our role fits in the all 11 unit. But again, we'll know more after practice three.
From the last game last year through spring, summer, up to today, what are some of the biggest strides you've seen this defense as a whole make, and maybe some of the guys that have really stepped up that you've been impressed with?
Yeah, I would say the knowledge of, again, seeing it on tape, understanding how people are going to attack you. Because, again, we are on defense. Okay, you start the playoff on your heels, and you have to understand, okay, the tendencies and what your weakness is. To understand your weaknesses is really a strength for you. Understand where we're weak, play to that, cover it up, and invite them over there, and then we attack that. Okay, and so that to me is where we're starting to gain some ground as a defense, is understanding, okay, this team, every team we face is going to attack us a certain way based on how we line up. Okay, it may be dressed up different, and it may be a different formation, maybe a slightly different play, but it's going to be similar concepts in similar spots where they feel like we have a weakness. And I think that is where we gain the most ground at the end of year one. And then as we move through year two, I think that is what we have to continue to preach.
Coach, obviously ball disruption has been talked about quite a bit. Are you seeing even now early signs that they're ready, able to do that more?
Yeah, I think you get what you emphasize, as Coach says all the time, and we're talking about it, and you got to manifest it, and you got to talk it into existence. And right now, you can see a concerted effort to go after the ball and go hunt the ball, and that's what you want. And really, you can boil, especially now as Coach talks to our team, everything's about big plays, right? Explosive plays and takeaways. I mean, that is the game of football. That though, if you looked, I'm sure we don't have that stat for the Super Bowl winner or the national championship winner every year, but that's going to be something probably that they are close to leading the country in, or up in the top 10 or up in the top 25 every year in both NFL and college football. That's what it is. And so we've made coach is all over the defense about that. And that there's no higher praise to have the head coach involved on your side, okay, stressing all those things. And when that happens, it's like those kids, our guys are like frothing at the mouth every day, okay, when the head man gives you the green light to go hunt the ball.
The secondary, a couple of newcomers in that room, but that's a group that's played a lot of football together. So how, if at all, is the focus different this fall, maybe with less install and more fine tuning?
Yeah, I think the focus is the same. And it's how well we watched a clip the other day of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed talking about no matter how many times you hear something, maybe the same word, the same install, you write it down and you learn it again. And you find a different way to learn it, right? I heard it this time 2 years ago. Wow, that word this year, in year 3 of my install, that word really struck me different as a corner, as a linebacker, as a D lineman. So you got to find a way to learn it from a different perspective, or as an older guy, teach it to a younger guy. Now, if I can teach it, now I'm learning in a different way. So I don't know if we're attacking it any different, but we're asking for the standard to step up every day based on where you are at in that process. Okay, whether you're ready for level 100 classes as a freshman or whether you're at 400, okay, as a senior, that standard's got to keep pushing.
How are you feeling about the secondary as a whole at this point? You've got a whole lot of guys that have had a lot of game experience coming back.
Yeah, I think, again, you're only as good as your last play. And that is part of the what we're preaching. It is, hey, you can be great on one play, the very next play could be a touchdown at any level. And I think, again, we feel good on every single play as we line up. And then the post snap, right? Do we feel good on how we executed on that play? That will live and die with every play in practice, and will live and die with every play in the game. And I feel good about where those guys are at mentally, similar to the D-line and the linebackers. They're starting to understand, again, where they fit in the puzzle. And if we can do that consistently, then we're going to have a chance. And so I feel really good where they're at mentally.
Going off of that, I mean, you're working with somebody you worked with before, Josh Conklin. Just what has that been like for you, especially just seeing him, work with the safeties as well?
Yeah, well, obviously, a lot of respect for Coach Conklin. Obviously, he was RD coordinator at 2 different places. And it's just, to have a staff that's everyone back on our defensive staff for the first time since we've been here. And then you add Coach Conklin, who, for all intents and purposes, he's back because he understands what we want to get done. We don't have to sit in there and install and teach the defense to our coaches, let alone our players. So he brings a level of, obviously, experience, and just from sitting in the highest chair as a head coach at Wofford, and dealing with the staff and those things, it's brought a lot of support to me to be able to be in there, and all of us, let alone him, but just everyone coming back, we can have in-depth conversations. And a lot of it, when you got your staff coming back, it's the unsaid communication. It's we're looking at each other across the field. Okay, this happened. Look at each other. We both nod. We know the fix. We don't have to have a 20-minute dissertation on, okay, what do we have to do there? It's a point, it's a nod, fix it, and we move on. So he adds to that at a different level because we've been with each other in the past.
Coach, with the talk of turnovers and how vital that's going to be, how important is the pass rush, getting to the quarterback, being disruptive? We all know how much that will help the secondary and back end of the defense. Building off what you finished, how you finished, get to the quarterback, and then continuing to increase that as you go into the season.
Yeah, well, the number one position on the football field is the quarterback. He touches the ball the most. And so that's the guy you got to affect. And that's what we told him yesterday. Sometimes it's not about sacks. It truly is affecting him. And can we get him off timing? So much of offense, if you want explosive plays, right, is about the timing and all those things. And if we can affect that, whether that's, taking his open targets away, whether that's affecting his vision, whether that's affecting his footwork, getting him to move off his spot, off balance, throw off his back foot, right, not see a certain thing, reroute a receiver out of a zone, okay, that causes him to go to another read. Now it gives us an extra 0.3 seconds to go get after him. Those things is what we're talking about. We're less about the stats and more about making his job really hard, just to have him have to go through his process as a quarterback and make him execute. We want to see if you're as good, right, as advertised, whoever we may be playing. And that will forever be what this game is about, and that's affecting the quarterback. So we put a huge premium on that. We're grading every play in practice. Every guy who touches the field is going to be graded on how he affects the quarterback.
Anything else for Coach Harley, guys? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.